my fellow Raiders. It is I, Dark Symphony 777, with a fan fiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the story, and any future fan fictions you want me to review. And as always, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world. If you want to leave an opinion, leave it in the comment section. So, we are going through my backlog. And right now we're at Tale of the Frog Princess by Moonbird. This was actually suggested by Moonbird herself a couple weeks ago. It's just with everything, I just now got to it. It's a very simple story. The synopsis reads, very loosely based on the Frog Prince, but of course with a gender bend. The beautiful Liliana traded her own beauty in order to save her father. I will point this out right at the beginning before I get into the review. She does not speak English. She's not a very good English speaker, so it's like so, you know, for those of you who don't know what the Frog Prince is, the Frog Prince is basically an old fairy tale. It's basically a prince turning into a frog and then trying to find love, and then a girl finds out, you know, falls in love with the frog and then turns into a prince and stuff like that. And this is basically just very loosely based. It's a fantasy romance story. It's only 54,000 words. So, let's get into it. So, let's start with the beginning of the story. Liliana is a princess of a kingdom, and her father is a kind guy. He's very kind. He's a fair ruler, but then he gets sick. So Liliana, the frog princess, does not know what to do, and so finds this witch. The witch offers her a deal to save her father at the cost of her own beauty. She takes it, and then she turns it. She doesn't even turn into a frog. She actually turns into what's described as like a kappa. Kind of a frog person sort of thing. So I'm just going to say kappa for simplicity's sake. For those of you who don't know, kappa are Japanese yokai that look like frogs. They're basically frog yokais. And so, you know, she manages to cure her father. He's strong. But then she runs away because, you know, she realizes she's horrible, she's ugly. The deal was with the witch, she had to give up beauty. However, there is a loophole in that. If someone loves her despite her ugliness, then she'll return to normal. So it's like, okay, it's a simple enough plot. So she goes across other kingdoms, and then she goes into a neighboring kingdom, and dang, my throat's bothering me. Finds this guy named Prince Adam. Prince Adam helps her, you know, by getting her a job, healing her, and stuff like that. And he doesn't care that he just cares that, you know, she's someone who needs help. And so she finds a job. Yes, like a princess finding a job, working stables with this guy named Old Jack, and you know, helping him out. And he's like, hey, you know, I like you. And so, you know, she finds another witch named Mother Ethel. I know I'm kind of going back and forth with the plot because that happens because she meets Mother Ethel before meeting Prince Adam. And Mother Ethel, you know, helps her and said, you know, you have three. I can't help you because of the deal you made, but I can help you in small ways. If you say my name 3 times, like Beetlejuice, then you know, I'll be able to help you. But you only have 3 uses of it. You know, number 3. I like the fact that the author did in fact use the whole iconic of 3 in it, because a lot of fairy tales have stuff in 3s. It seems to be like, if you pay enough attention to how fairy tales work, there's always something to do with the number 3 somewhere in that fairy tale. It may not be obvious at first, but, you know, it's definitely there. There's always something to do with the number 3. 3 wishes, 3 quests, stuff like that. And so after meeting Adam, she gets a job. She helps him. She manages to save the kingdom a couple times from the dragon and this blight. And, you know, Adam's falling in love with her. Everyone's starting to respect her. And then the witch comes back with, you know, because the witch, when she took her beauty, she put it on her own. And so now she's completely young and gorgeous and stuff like that. And she basically makes one last play to keep her from using that loophole of, you know, finding Prince to love him. And then she manages to get found out through the use of a magic mirror to expose her ugliness, and then she dies. And then Anna proclaims that, you know, he's gonna marry Ileana, who's named Frog for most of the story. And then she turns normal, and then they live happily ever after with, you know, Ileana going to see her father and saying, I'm alive and stuff like this. And overall, so I don't really like the plot. I think it's a nice little plot. It's simple for what it is, but, you know, it's just very simple. I think there could have been more done with it. But looking at the plot subjectively, all we're looking at is another kid-friendly fairy tale, and, you know, I have no problems with that. This is for what it set out to do with the plot. It accomplished it decently enough. There's no real problems with it. There's nothing really wrong with the plot. So let's get into the characters. We have Ileana. Ileana's a very basic princess character. She's very giving. She's very polite. You know, she knows all. You know, she's a princess, and she's very, very beautiful. But she doesn't really care about her beauty. She uses, you know, she just wants to give and give and give, and, you know, wants to work hard and stuff like that. And so she's a very basic protagonist. So there's nothing really wrong with that, especially if you're going for a kid story, and which is basically what this story is. It's just a it's about a 5,000 plus word kid story. It's for kids. You're not supposed to claim any, you know, aside from a simple lesson that beauty is skin deep. Then, you know, stuff like that. And then when she turns into Frog, you know, she still keeps that. She's kind of squat and stuff like that, but she, you know, she wants to help out. Adam is a basic character as well. Again, there's nothing complex done with him because this is supposed to be a kid story. It's supposed to be like a simplistic fairy tale. I can't fault the author for that. He's fine as it is. The witch is just a simple antagonist meant to represent the antithesis of Ileana. Ileana does not care about her looks. She just cares about being generous, while the witch wants to exploit her beauty forever and ever. Thinks of that beauty is everything. So she's a simple antagonist to get over. She's not a real villain per se, but she's just more an antagonist. And then there's Old Jack. Old Jack is basically just this very stern guy who doesn't like when people work, and if he doesn't like complainers. If you complain, you're out on your ass. And so, you know, he turns to respect Ileana because of the simple fact she doesn't complain, she doesn't give up. Sure, she's unorthodox. Like, there's a scene in the story where Jack tells her, you know, get rid of the frog, you know, get the pigs in the barn, and she's trying to figure out. So she grabs a ladder, and he's like, "Oh, you're ready to give." And he sees her just holding the ladder and putting it like perpendicular to the little gate, and then just freaking out and scaring the pigs so that way they go in the hole, and then she locks it, and she's like very happy, and Jack's just like, "You cheated. I got it done. You cheated." I got the pigs in there. Fine. And so girls don't more respect her than anything, simply because she doesn't give up. She didn't complain or anything. At anything. So, you know, he's a nice little character. Mother Ethel is a good grandmother character. Kind of, you know, she's supposed to represent that 3 wishes thing. So she's only there for the whole concept of the number 3 thing. So she's fine for what she did. She's just basically just a simple godmother figure saying, "Oh, here's your help. Use it." And so, you know, it's fine. The characters are fine. There's nothing really extravagant done with them. There's nothing really amazing done with them. They're just simple characters meant for kids. So I can't really fault the author for, just doing very simple characters. Grammar. There are a lot of grammar errors. If you're a grammar Nazi, you will not like this story. I cannot blame the author for this because English is not her first language. It is, I think, her second or third language. I know she's from the... If you go on fanfiction.net and there's a flag... Oh, she's from Denmark, so she speaks Dutch. At least I think that's what... Main language in Denmark. Danish. Oops. I meant Danish, not Dutch. Danish is her main language, so it's like, having all these grammar errors, I can excuse that to a point. There's way too many grammar errors, but at least I can see, she doesn't speak English. English is not her first language, so it's like, I can't fault the author, like, at all. So, there's that. Pacing. The pacing is done relatively simple. I mean, it's just her going from town. It's just drawing up scenarios of stuff that happens to her. The first chapter is her meeting the witch, her dad getting sick, and then, trading in her beauty. The next chapter is a generous farmer saying, you can live here, but you have to pay, and stuff like that. And it's just her getting into scenarios, each chapter kind of representing her progress through the story, and ending with the final declaration with her turning normal, and her returning to her father and telling her we're getting married, and stuff like that. It's very simplistic pacing. Again, this is more due to the fact that it's a fairy tale. Fairy tales employ the less is more, so that our minds and actually connect the dots. We're just supposed to say, hey, like Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland is considered a fairy tale. A really weird fairy tale, but it's considered a fairy tale. Despite, it's really weird beginnings, like being really, really dark. I don't know, all the Mother Goose stories are fairy tales. Like, is Little Miss Muffet a fairy tale? I don't know. Leave in the comment section. Is Little Miss Muffet, Tuffet, eating a thing of porridge? Is that a fairy tale? I can't remember. Anyway, fairy tales aren't supposed to be very simplistic. It's supposed to be very, very simple stories meant to entice kids on the wonders of the world before, it's supposed to be like toddlers' first stories. They're very simple stories meant for little kids that are basically meant to introduce them to slightly more advanced reading on their own. Because, when kids stories, it's usually the parents who read to them. I have a son. I can't see my son because my ex is meh. But when it comes to kids, wanting to learn how to read on their own, they usually wander towards stuff like fairy tales and very toddlery books, or any kind of story with lots and lots of pictures to help them out. And fairy tales are usually the biggest one because they're very simple. They have a lot of pictures. They have a lot of imagery on them. And so it's to help the kids use the idea of imagery to extend the story. So it's very simple for what it does. Favorite part? I guess it would have to be the part where she meets old Jack. Like, there's a chapter called Old Jack number 6. I think mainly because old Jack kind of is just pretty hilarious. I also like how Ileana and Old Jack kind of get along in a more respecting, I don't like you, but I respect you sort of way. So I can't, that's it. Especially the part with, a little frog creature putting the ladder in the pen and just and just freaking out and scaring the pigs. It's just a hilarious image that actually got a chuckle out of me. Overall, I think, wait. Would I recommend this? If not for the fact I cannot acknowledge this is literally a story for kids, I wouldn't recommend it. Simply because of all the grammar. Even you know, even if Danish is Moonbird's first language, the amount of grammar errors in the story has thrown me off. So it's like, But despite the fact I don't really like the story outside of any scene with old Jack in it, it does the job well. It's a very simple story, but it does what it does well. So I can't fault the author for deciding to write a simple story. You know, sometimes authors prefer to write simple stories because, you know, it just helps. That's just their forte. So yeah, I would recommend this story to pretty much any kid. Kids are not gonna really care about grammar. So if you're a little kid, it's fine. If you want a more simplistic story, like it's just a simple down-ho story to just, you know, not think about and just say, oh, that's a decent little story, then, you know, read this story. It's something that could be enjoyed, at least a little bit. But this is where I wanted to talk about fixing the story. Let's see if this one is more hopeful than anything, because I really like a redone version of the story. So let's get started. What would I fix? First off, clean all the grammar errors. Again, I'm not faulting the author. It's just fix the grammar errors. There are a lot of grammar errors. Second off, oops, sorry, hit my laptop. There are a couple of sentences that are sentences that are supposed to be spaced, but are instead kind of not spaced. I actually had to expand it in some parts because it got really, really bad. Like if you were looking at me, like in the first chapter, it's the first two sentences are basically an example of this. Once, long ago, in a small but rather peaceful kingdom, there lived a king. This king was gentle, kind, and very beloved by his own people. But it's like two sentences, but they're like not really spaced. They shouldn't be spaced together. And this is very representative of how fairy tale writings work. They usually have like one sentence or one tiny sentence, another tiny sentence, and then underneath that, it's a space, and then it's another sentence. So it's kind of off-putting to see, you know, this type of style, but not really this, but without the spacing. So it's like, okay, just fix whatever is there. Just fix the mistakes that are there. No problem. I would like to see basically an extended version of this, because there's a lot of stuff that the author can easily expand on. This would be more of a remake than you know, just fixing up the story. But that would probably be like a video for another time. I would actually have to do another video just detailing what I would do to extend the story, because, you know, there would be a lot to work with. Do you think I should make a second part of this video where I just talk about what I would do to change the story and make it like something made by Disney or something like that? Unless you count Princess and the Frog. I don't count Princess and the Frog because instead of turning into a Kappa in that movie, she turns into a frog. Like an actual frog who could talk. So that's my review on Tale of the Frog Princess. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and